every back to sweets. Welcome back to the Afternoon Express kitchen, where we're about to make the most beautiful chocolate cake. Chef Chart, I see your sleeves are rolled up. You ready for this?
Oh, absolutely. I'm always ready for a little bit of chocolate and decadence. You know, something that's dark and chocolatey and with a bit of coffee in it. Oh, I mean,
a little bit like me.
Oh,
now, everyone loves a decadent chocolate cake, but with the addition of Clover Authenticos yogurt, you're bound to have the most delicious chocolate cake every single time. We're also making sure that the inside tastes as good as the outside looks with a chocolate ganache filling. Yummy, right?
Whoa, all those words coming together. Lovely. Divine. So I'm going to kick off with, I guess, with the chocolate cake base, I guess, really, which is very important. So in my bowl, I've got my eggs, which I've been whisking up here. So I've got them light and fluffy, some lovely aeration in there. And to that, what we're going to add in is our oil. Now, oil gives a lovely longevity to a cake, and it gives a wonderful sort of springiness to it. But the longevity is what's really key. So if you want a cake that you'll sort of eat in a couple of days' time, when it's got oil in, you know it's going to be a great one for that.
And Chef Chard, I can already see, looking at that cake base, it almost is glistening. Is that also that addition of the oil?
So again, very important to oil your base there. So I'll jump across to this as you one step ahead. But you can line the base with a little bit of baking paper, just to help it come away very easily. Springform. Only a springform really is necessary if you are going to not invert it, i.e. like a cheesecake. So then you can't tip it upside down. Then you want a springform. But with this here, you can just use your standard aluminium baking tins that you get. They work well because this you can literally turn upside down and invert. Okay. So with that there, our oil, we're going to put in some vanilla for your flavouring in there. So let's just pop that in there, and then your melted chocolate. So this is pretty straightforward. You've got most of your wet ingredients, and then you're going to mix all your dry ingredients together, and then we're going to bring it together with some hot water, which I'll talk about very shortly. Okay. So that into there. I'm going to use that spoon, and let's just sort of give that a bit of a mix, and let's start bringing on the chocolate flavour. I mean, look at that starting to lace. I love that sort of marble effect coming together.
I mean, the creaminess already, and just that airiness, it almost looks like a cloud.
Well, you can imagine, I mean, that's what eggs are. They're so light and fluffy and like little pillows, which is really important. So that's the wet side. So, dry side. In with our flour that we've got is brown sugar. So this is going to give us another level and dimension of richness. Your cocoa powder. So let's just sort of pop that into there. Your coffee granules as well. Coffee granules, remember?
Yes.
Because you want this to dissolve. You don't want little bits of, coffee beans sort of lurking in there. So that.
Definitely.
And then obviously your raisin ingredient, which is your bicarb and your baking powder. Okay.
And then, Chef, when does the Clover Authenticos yogurt come in?
That is going to come into our wet ingredients. So that's our dry ingredients there. I'm just going to sort of bring that together.
Into a mix.
So mix all that up. So it's also started to be incorporated. And then into here, we're going to add in our yogurt. Now, I know what 1.5 cups is, by the way, so I'm just going to sort of, pop that into there. Right, so bring all that together.
Now, Chef, I know we're using our Clover Authenticos, which in essence in South Africa is the only Greek-style yogurt you can find. But I want to find out something, the difference between you using a yogurt, a buttermilk, milk in your chocolate cake,
or a mayonnaise.
I've also heard about that. What difference does that add?
So here you've got the wonderful acidity that you've got there. So that acidity that comes from the sourness of the milk really changes it. Again, going back to our chemical reaction that's happening in here. So you're going to get something that's going to give a bit of longevity, but also you're going to get a wonderful moistness to it as well, which is what's really important and what's gorgeous with this cake here. So taking most of your wet ingredients into your dry ingredients like that. Let's give you all the dirty dishes to clean in a bit. Thanks, Pali. And I'm just going to start with my spatula. I want to keep that air in to a large extent. So just with a spatula, just going around and just lifting it around the bowl very gently to incorporate it. Now, it's not going to just all come together. It's going to be a little bit thick to start off with. And remember, I've got some liquid going into it just now as well, so that's also very important. So whilst this is going on, Tumi, you want to talk what you do on your side, and then we'll come back to this?
I'm so curious because, Tumi, at the end of the day, you are on Ganache station. Yes. We did say that it's going to taste as yummy on the inside as it looks on the outside. So what has gone into that Ganache?
All right, so in here, I've got some dark chocolate that we've got, but I've added some hot or warmed up cream cream into it to, in essence, start dissolving it and then get it to the consistency that we like. And then towards the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some butter into it just for some decadence.
Gotcha.
But I know that one thing that we've done here is that we're using our Clover Authenticos, which is the plain flavor. But I know, Chef, it's a lot of flavors here. It's a chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. But we've also got the Authenticos that comes in coconut. So we could definitely do that, add that flavor just for that touch of coconut into our chocolate.
And then I
as
can
well.
also see you've got an array of different chocolates there just to decorate the top with. So if you do go for the coconut, you can also then, that's another addition you can add.
You can also add that flavor of the coconut in there. You can add your coconut cream. You can add coconut flakes on it as well. I'm just going to keep icing this cake because when you said chocolate cake, I was like, heaven. All right, so I'm going to keep adding this. We've got our ganache that we just made. It's nice and thick. It's nice and set. And then I'm just going to add all those other ingredients.
Okay, girl, let me leave you on that station, but you know I can't leave. Wait, let me have a taste. Let me have a taste of this ganache. Okay, now I can leave you.
Right,
Oh,
come back
wow,
here. Right.
delicious. Creamy.
Well, yes, that's chocolatey. Now, I'm making chocolatey here now. So actually what I'm adding in here is actually hot water. Now, why am I adding hot water? Adding hot water, I'm blooming the cocoa powder. All right? So by blooming that cocoa powder, I'm actually bringing the cocoa to life. I'm rehydrating cocoa powder because basically it's just cocoa mass that has been dried out. So I'm really intensifying to get that wonderful chocolatey flavor by adding hot water to this mixture. Remember I was talking about early on with the flour and hot water, of bringing those two together, you get that gelatinous kind of texture. It's exactly what I do. So I'm, in essence, speeding up the process of cooking. Sometimes you have a tart or a torte recipe and it asks you to heat it up beforehand.
Yeah.
Basically what you're going to double prove. You know, we talk about double prove with yeast. This you're going to double prove by activating the bicarb and the baking powder now with the actual hot water. Then it's going to go to the oven and be heated up again, and it's going to basically give us a second rise. So you're going to get that wonderful rise coming through, but you're also going to get a wonderful denseness with the cake, which is lovely and moist. And also at the end of the day, once it's finished baking, it's going to have a much sort of tighter crumb, not a loose crumb that's going to be sort of, you know, sort of all over the place, and you can't put that gorgeous ganache on there.
You want it to come together beautifully so you can make our decorating as easy as what Dumi is doing. But if you'd like to get your hands on this recipe, you already know where to go. afternoonexpress.co.za. Chefs, you've done it again. Voila.
There is a classic mayonnaise that brings out the traditional French in 3 levels of tanginess. The mild classic, the medium classic, the strong classic. Tangy the way you love it.
Made with love by Clover.